All right, this is part 2 of how to set up a client file. So we're back in Serenity and Kovacs. We have, I think I might have screwed something up. Planner. I'm going to go over to, I've got a planner here. What I'm going to show you, I'm going to try again here now, is setting up, we're going to edit this, set up the notebook, which I think we already did, but I lost it. Notebook. We're going to put it all in caps. Notebook. So let that be a little refresher, assuming this works. Well, that's how you do it. I mean, it should work. While we're here, planner, we're going to move planner up, up. Okay, save. Okay, I'm going to see if my notebook thing worked. And if it did work, that's nice. Okay, so there's the planner for Serenity and Kovacs, but as you can see, it's completely unpopulated. Now, there's a couple of ways of populating it. One is to manually add the sections and the pages yourself. Second way is to go into the litigation Sharepoint site where there's a precedent notebook where if you have the uh, OneNote app, you can open it in the OneNote app and then copy it or move it over to the new client SharePoint site. The other option is to take a look at a notebook. I switched over to Smith & Jones, and here's a notebook that's been populated. So it's got status. In status, there is overview, which ideally is quick update on what's going on in the file in case the client calls. We can just go there and give them an update according to that. So it should be updated with the most recent activity at the top. So then we've got critical dates, and the information here in critical dates should be included any limitation date and the deadline to set a matter down for trial, which is 5 years after the date that the claim was issued. These instructions are in the precedent notebook, or I will paste them elsewhere. Contacts and parties. So all the client's information with address, email, phone number, should be added here, as well as opposing counsel, the name of opposing counsel, the name of their client, their address, email, phone number or phone numbers, and the name of their legal assistant and or law clerk. Sometimes that information can be found on the lawyer's website. Then in a standard litigation file, we'll have a medicals section. Under there, we will have a section for each care provider. So for example, a hospital, family doctor, physio clinic, and what goes in there is our chronological notes on review of the clinical notes and records. It's a nice starting point. What's going to happen is at some point is there going to be a memo to file, which is going to be an ongoing chronology that is in date order of the client's visits at these clinics. But this is a good place to put that information. That's quick and easy. Client communications, so client calls, for example, I usually put as the name of the page the date, although I don't know if that's the best idea. And so here's a sample. Call to client to advise of upcoming discovery dates, provided data discovery to client, advise that we will be in touch to schedule discovery prep meetings. Discovery prep meetings are typically, say, uh, 7 days, um, maybe 7 days, 21 days, 30 days prior to discovery. Okay, and then confirmed conversation with client by email, and then / and your initials so we know who left the note. Then maybe client calls back, and here we've put in the date again, or whatever makes sense. I just think that these pages should be listed in date order. Date makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know, maybe there's a better way. Other communications is where, oh, look, physio care. So say we're trying to get clinical notes and records from physio care. So we've got physio care page set up. So April 3rd, 2026, left message with physio care to confirm receipt of my fax. MLG, that's me, MLG. Then let's say 18 April 2026, call from physio care. They have not received fax, MLG, and then note resent request. So then everyone knows what's going on. Court appearances, don't have too many of those in civil matters, but that's the basic setup for the notebook. Now let's go back to Serenity and Kovacs. So we got the notebook. We've got the planner. I don't think I showed you how to set up the planner using a precedent. So what I'm going to do is, because we already have a planner here, we're going to go over here to FUD and R. FUD VR, it's named in such a way, I know that's a criminal file. But just for the sake of showing you how to set up the planner, what you do is you go to the precedent plan, which is in litigation, but I'll put a hyperlink to that if I don't forget in this video, in the comments, that is. So here I have the precedent plan. What you do is you go to this drop down of the precedent plan, you select copy plan, then you got to change the name of the plan. So this is going to be for the FUD file, right? So we'll just call that FUD plan, Elmer FUD. You're going to select the file that you want to use the plan in, and we're going to do that for the FUD file. There's FUD. And then select every one of these options and copy. Okay, so that part's done. Now we're going to go back over to the FUD file. And, oh, as you can see, the FUD file hasn't been properly configured because documents should be over here and activity should be over there. Let me just fix that right now. Edit, easily sidetracked. Okay, so documents goes here right below news and activity goes right here. Now I'm going to republish, yes, that's correct. And finally, where was I now? I was going to edit the navigation folder. No editing has happened yet, so let's just fix this up. Documents should be all caps. Sorry. Documents. Do not select open new tab. Okay, then notebook, edit, all caps, notebook. However, this time we open a new tab, and then we're going to click on this plus sign here, and we're going to select the plan. And we just set up the plan. We're going to open a new tab. We're going to display name is going to be all caps, planner. Okay, and then we're going to save. Now let's test it out. The plan. Click on the plan. Waiting ever so patiently for it to generate. There it is, FUD plan. FUD plan, deadlines, limitation, communications, productions, pleadings, accident benefits. Now that is a plan that's not for a criminal file, it's for a litigation file. But don't worry about that because it's very easy to alter things. So for example, accident benefits are only relevant in motor vehicle accidents in Ontario. So we don't need it. I'm going to delete it. Delete that bucket. Pleadings are not relevant to a criminal file. That's for a litigation file. But we can rename it because what is relevant is, all caps, disclosure. And there we go. Disclosure, productions, not so relevant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move disclosure on over. You can just drag them over. Deadlines and limitations, communications, disclosure. It can all be, what is that word? Whatever. Going back to the Serenity plan. So a quick note on the Serenity plan that I had already set up earlier. I've got under deadlines and limitations, I've got a defense that's due, defense to be served and filed in 30 days. So if I click on that, just to explain, assigned here is reception and myself. Defense is something that I need to be actively involved in. It's due in 30 days. Therefore, the deadline should not be on May 2nd because it's due in 30 days. So we're going to change that to say it's the third today. Let's make it, I guess, 2 weeks from now. Yeah, it is important. Not started. Does not repeat. Show on card. Okay, and then so for the person who sets up this task, they need to assign themselves to the task. I'm going to close it. The reason why you have to assign yourself to a task that's my task is because your job is to tell me that this has to be done because I don't look at these. And hope that helps. Serenity plan, precedent plan, serenity plan. Did I have? Oh crap! I had another serenity plan here. So I'm sorry. I seem to have screw that up. But here's another example of a task. Productions, physio care. So we requested the physio care records. I'm going to click on that to open it. It's assigned only to reception or to the team members working on the file, not the lawyer, because it's just clinical notes and records. I don't need to know about it. So on the notes section, you would write, for example, April 3rd, 2026, faxed physio care for records. And then, so we have it in progress. A start date, I don't think it really matters about start date, but whatever. So we're going to diarize that 30 days, which is, I put to May 1st, medium. And then here's a little note about what's going to happen on May 1st. On May 1st, records received question mark, and then there's a checklist here that I've populated myself. You may or may not need to, but have records been received? If no, resend, request, and call PhysioCare, and then re-diarize for 30 days for follow-up. It might be tighter than 30 days if we're on a timeline. You can actually attach a link to the request letter as well in the task, but it's not strictly necessary. And then if you want to make your own task, you just add tasks, super easy. Let's see, communications. Let's see, maybe you're trying to reach the family doctor or an expert. I know, schedule discoveries. Schedule discoveries, okay. And then you can assign yourself to that. You're not sure, you think maybe I need to be involved, you can assign me, but again, I'm not going to pay any attention to that. Add the task, and then after you add the task, you can click on the task to add any more details, like left message for opposing counsel's assistant, put / your initials, and of course don't forget to start with the date, so 03 April 2026. And then because you're here, it's going to remind you when you put the due date, so you want to be reminded maybe to follow up next Tuesday. So there you go. Now it's going to remind you, it's going to send you an email if you're assigned to the task telling you, you've got this upcoming task due, better do something. Okay, I did want to maybe very, very quickly, perhaps I can just set up, I can explain two other things in Serenity. Right, the only other things you have to do in a new file is set up two new document libraries. Document library, which is going to be called for all litigation files. Oops. Schedule A, and show in site navigation. It already exists because, yeah, I'd actually already made it, but I'm trying to show you how to do it. So you don't normally put a dash there. I'm just doing that as an example. So then I created, and then you create a second one. Go back to the home page. Go back to new document library, and it's going to be called document share library. So blank library, document share library, and then you create, it shows up in the navigation pane, and you should be good to go. Thank you. Let me know if questions.